And I think being an actor is one of the most empathetic things that I can do as a human on this planet, to physically and literally put my feet in someone else's shoes and embrace that experience of life, but to do so with a complete open heart and with the curiosity and with zero judgment attached to it, it is really what draws me to do what it is that I do.
Welcome. I'm joking. Welcome to everybody to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by normally non-choking Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 549 of the podcast. I really do apologizing for choking, but it's just because I have a wonderful episode. There are episodes that when I'm listening to them back while I'm doing my editing thing, I can't help but smile. And with this chat, I had a big old smile on my face because my guest today is an amazing actress, Megan Peta Hill, or it's Megan. I said that. Megan Peta Hill, if you're from Australia. But just such a wonderful chat, wonderful person. She can also be seen in the movie We Are Zombies, which is available right now. So go find it. Go watch it and let her know that she's amazing. And even before you watch it, say, hey, you're so amazing because I listen to this podcast and Chris never steers us wrong. So that's what's up. So I gotta go. Okay. I'm going to start choking again. I don't know why. But I'm just going to leave so we can get this conversation started. All right. So everybody sit back, relax, and Megan, take it away. Or if you're in Australia, Megan, take it away.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Megan. I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
I sure can. This is perfect.
Perfect. You know, we did it. We got confirmation we can hear each other. So,
fabulous. That's a good start.
Right. I feel like it's all downhill from here. So
so should we just call it a day and say we're done?
Yeah. A lovely chat. How's your day going so far?
It's good. It's good. And how about yourself?
It's going all right. I had a busy morning planned.
Okay.
But it's one of those things that I'm like, I have a yard now, and I don't want to brag. I'm not bragging at all, but it's just like, okay, now I have to keep this yard alive. And
right.
It's just like, oh, I have to mow it. I have to do this. I have to do that. Blah, blah, blah. So I was planning on doing that this morning because I live in Texas. It gets like in the hundreds. No, thank you.
Lordy. Okay.
Yeah.
Toasty.
Exactly. Yeah. Not fun at all. But then it's rained last night into today. So that means I'm off the hook for one day. So.
Okay. I see what you're doing there. Okay. Yeah. Very wise. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Because, it was one of those things that I was always told, you don't mow the lawn when it rains. Okay, cool. Right. Whatever. And I was sitting there just thinking, I really need to mow the lawn. I started it yesterday, but it got too hot. So I Googled it because, I'm a man child. So of course it says, no, you don't do that because it's going to mess up your lawnmower. And so I said, well, Google told me I can't do it. So I guess I can't do it.
I guess I have my answer. Oh no, I guess I won't go out in the blistering heat. And...
Yes. Oh, my God. Location wise, where are you about?
Right now I'm in Montreal.
Okay.
But I spend most of my time in Vancouver, but I'm from Brisbane.
Okay.
So sort of all over. But right now I'm in Montreal.
Okay. So Montreal, do they have, I'm thinking we're going to talk about weather for about 40 more minutes. So hang on, people. No, are the winters, or sorry, the summers there, is it like humid or is it a dry heat?
Well, see, this is my first summer here.
Gotcha.
I have
Okay.
had a winter here before, and so far, I'm going to tell you, it is muggy.
Oh, okay.
It is a wet heat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no fun.
But
Yeah.
I am from Brisbane, and like it's a very muggy heat there too. So I
Hmm.
feel very much at home. So I'm definitely
Gotcha.
not complaining.
Okay. Okay. Well, so because I grew up on uh I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I get those. I've lived in Victoria, BC, so I'm just like that whole side of the country. The weather wise, it's pretty similar.
Right.
Down here, when I first moved here, I hate the summers here because they're just so hot.
Yeah.
But yes, then there was a level of mugginess, humidity that I was just not used to, and it was not fun this summer. And I don't know, I keep telling people who live here there's no humidity going on. We're having a dry heat. Isn't that weird for anybody? And I feel like I'm crazy because I'm just where it there's no, like, you go outside and it's like, oh, I guess I can just wear a hat and still function.
Right.
Okay, all right. So
What is this magic?
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I'm just like, what's going on here? And again, I feel like I'm the crazy person because I'm just like, it's dry. Why is it dry? Why isn't it? It's been crazy humidity for the past I don't know 10, 12 years I've been here, and this,
Right.
like, I just doesn't make sense. And yeah, I'm going crazy. So
Right. But you don't want to spook away the dry heat because dry heat is, it's a lot more like bearable, I find,
yeah,
than the humidity. So don't
yeah.
spook it away, dude.
I don't. I'm just like, what's going like. In the time I've been here, the weather has been getting to be more and more, not more and more, but similar to like a Pacific Northwest heat. And I'm
Right.
just like, look, I'm taboo topic is like
Mm-hmm.
global warming. Is this the effects of it? Because like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on here? It's just weird to me. And yeah, I don't.
Yeah, there's definitely some changes happening
Yeah,
and some patterns, and yeah, I hear
I
you.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Of course, I'm not. I'm not saying I'm pro it, but I'm just like, what? Look. I don't need an excuse to talk bad about Texas. Texas takes
Right.
care of that itself. But still, I like having things to be able to pull out of my the belt, the utility belt, and boom. Humidity was always one of them, but
You're ready to rock, yeah.
yeah, now I'm just like, oh crap, now it's dry heat. Well, lost an angry point. Well,
Yeah.
but again, another thing pops up. That's the beauty of this place.
That's right. That's right.
So, uh,
You're painting a very vivid picture. I've never been to Texas, and now I feel like I need to go and have the experience for myself. So,
yeah, I mean, look, I've been pretty vocal on this podcast how Texas and I don't agree. We have agreed to disagree.
got it.
But if you're gonna go to Texas, like, go to Austin because that's just fun.
Okay.
I'm not a nightlife person, but in Austin, I will partake in the nightlife because it's just fun to walk around, go to bars, even back when it was super humid. It was still like, all right, whatever. We're all miserable. Let's drink. So, and of course, the art scene, the music scene, the movie scene, like everything. Like,
Mm.
it's my girlfriend and I are very pro Austin. So
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I'll add it onto the list, and I'll hit you up when I'm going, so I know exactly. I need to know the right places. This is
oh
the
yeah,
restaurant to
oh
check
yeah,
out. It
oh
sounds like
yeah.
you're in the know. So,
It's so funny. yeah, sure, I'm in the know. Where I live and have lived for many years, I'm just like, I don't know. I no idea. I stay
Right.
inside. I don't go outside. No, thank you.
But isn't that the
Um,
thing? Like the city that you live in, we don't usually like tourist. You
right.
know, like I
Yes.
haven't been to some of the museums in Vancouver, even though that's where I spend most of my time.
Hmm.
But I've been in Montreal for like a month, and I'm like, great, ticked off the botanical gardens. I've been to the planetarium. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's I. So I hate looking like a tourist. It's the number one thing that I'm just like, I don't want to be around other people that don't know what's going on. Let's
Uh-huh.
just go hang out, whatever. When I went to Philly, I had zero, um, uh, just need to go to those rocky stairs. Cause I'm just like, I'm a tourist, but I don't want to do touristy things. Okay. I'm trying to be
Right.
incognito. Everyone leave me alone. So
Yeah, but I think as long as you don't have like the fanny pack and the really long socks and like a big bulky camera, you can sneak around, you know,
right.
get a little baseball cap on and just act like you know where you're going.
Exactly.
You can
Yeah,
get away
I'm
with
going.
it.
I'm just walking over there. What do you want? What's wrong?
I know
Uh,
exactly where I'm going. Don't look at
yeah,
me. Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm just have Google Maps in my hand. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so are you? Aside from where you live and spend, like,
Mm.
you're about the touristy. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but you're just like, hey, let's go see all the sights and sounds of this particular city I've never been in.
Yeah, I'm a traveler by nature, a
Mm,
nomad by nature, and I have my dad and my brothers to thank for that. They're all
mm.
pilots, and so I think
Oh,
at a
okay.
very at a young age it was like, okay, you're coming with me, and we're gonna go spend 2 days here and then 3 days there, and so it's sort of in my bones a little bit, and yeah, and even my parents now, you know, they're in their mid 60s, but
Mm.
they'll be like, let's just pick a place on the planet and we're gonna spend 3 weeks, we're gonna hire a car and we're gonna see where we end up. And that sort of like ended up in my DNA. So yeah, I definitely like to but you know, I'm very much guided by the locals. I
Yeah.
want to talk to the person who's, you know, driving the cab and be like, okay, where should I go for dinner? And like, where's the hole in the wall spot that nobody knows
Mm,
about unless you're a
hmm.
local, you know? I want to go experience like that part of a new city.
I love that mentality of, let's just go and see what happens. I was telling my girlfriend when I was living in Victoria, there was the people that I would hang out, my friends, they had this very worldly, adventurous spirit about them. And
Mm.
I was a little in awe, because I was just, wow, like the places you've been, and you just would just go and, hey, let's go backpacking, let's go chill at a, um I don't know, one of those stay overnight places. um and I was just so fascinated with this idea of just, let's just go to Europe and backpack and see what happens, because the neurotic part of my brain is just like, what if X happens and that happens and that. And so it's just, I love hearing the fact that your family cultivated that. Let's go adventure, let's go explore, and see new things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, I definitely lean toward the anxiety, you know,
Mm,
neurotic side for sure. And I want to make sure I know that I've got a bed to sleep in and I know
right.
I'm going to spend the night, you know. But I like to know sort of the end spots. But
Mm,
ultimately, I've at least my experience in travel so far has been if I actually just keep it open and be spontaneous and say yes to opportunities of like, why don't you go try this place? I end up a far more I don't know, visceral experience of that place. But no,
mhm.
I definitely like to have a plan,
Right. It's, yeah, some
some
sort of plan.
outline
Yeah.
of a structure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And have you, having this, the sense of exploration, do you think that's translated to the acting part of your brain?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think the piece that links those together
Hmm.
is this insatiable curiosity about the world and about people. And I think that's why the travel bug is so strong in me, is
Mm.
because I'm so curious about how people live and their cultures and their food and their music and all of that. And so that's the part about travel that I love. And it's also the part of me that's the artist that I'm so curious about how people think and what makes them tick and why they do certain things and why they move the way they do. And I think being an actor is one of the most empathetic things that I can
Hmm.
do as a human on this planet, to physically and literally put my feet in someone else's shoes and embrace that experience of life, but to do so with a complete open heart and with the curiosity and with zero judgment attached to it,
Hmm.
it is really what draws me to do what it is that I do.
I love that. So, just because I like finding out what part of the acting comes from the person. From you, it really sounds like it's just your acting comes from curiosity.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think humans are fascinating.
Mm.
People watching is my favorite thing in the world to do, and it's also why I'm moving into writing as well,
Mm.
and that starting up in that process, I'm realizing like you can start out with a story and you can start out with this idea of who these characters are, but as you rewrite and you rewrite and rewrite, which is
Hmm.
the process of writing, these characters actually just start to tell you who they are.
Yeah.
And if you're just curious and open in learning about who they're telling you to be on the page, then the story is so much better for it.
Hmm. Do you, when you're writing, do you ever just kind of feel a character, the character's dialogue just kind of, oh, obviously this person would say this, blah blah blah, and it just kind of flows out easier?
Yeah, absolutely. And because I think the trap with writing is that all of a sudden all of your characters have the same rhythm and cadence
Right.
and vernacular, but each person, even if they're siblings or whatever, we each have our own pattern of speech and language that we prefer to use.
Right.
And luckily, like my writing partner and I, we are we both come from acting and are making this
Mm.
transition, and so it's nice the two of us can sort of bounce off each other as characters, and we're like, well, ooh, that doesn't sit right in me as an actor, this character wouldn't say this way. So that really helps. But when you're in that creative flow state of writing, then yeah, things come out and you're like, okay, that was that person just coming through me for a second, and that's exactly what they needed to say in that moment. Got it.
Do you ever find, I'm very curious about the writing process. Do you have
Mm.
an outline of, okay, we have this which will lead to that, which then ends with that? Just kind of something like that laid out.
Yeah, yeah. So how I typically like to work is, starting with just the very simple, like, what is the story? Just a
Mm.
one sentence, like, what is this? And then, slowly putting all of the pieces together, ultimately ending up with, they call it like a scene by scene,
Hmm.
which is essentially, fancy way of saying just different cards that go, well, this scene is going to lead to this scene, is going to lead to
Mm.
this scene,
Mm.
and having just a really simple, this is the point of this scene and this is what the characters need and this is what this person's fighting for, and then linking it all together, and in that process you start to realize like, oh, actually we don't need this and this is
Mm.
superfluous, there's a gap here. It doesn't make sense that this character does this next. We need something in between. So and then once that is sort of really strong and solidified, then going in and actually fleshing out dialogue and all of that, because I have tried it other ways and then I
Hmm.
end up just sort of like lost in the wilderness.
Yeah.
So having a really solid structure first just makes it so much more efficient and honestly a lot easier ultimately.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love writing short films. That's kind of where um my background is in, but there were moments where I'd be like, okay, I want it to start out like this, and I know the last shot of the project. So let's see how I can connect it. And I just love the moments where I was so in tuned to where I would just
Yeah.
go off somewhere else, and I'm like, oh, how'd I get here? It
Yeah.
works, but I don't know how I got here. Oh well, and then just kind of find my way back, or But I love the idea of just getting so enamored with a project that it just starts flowing, and you're really just typing. Your fingers are doing all the work, and it's just I don't know. It's there's something fun about that process.
Absolutely. And it's so free when you
Yeah.
are there and you're so just lost in the world, and it just reveals itself to you. It's the best feeling ever. And this project I'm working on right now, I don't know, the characters just they feel so so real and so
Mm.
alive, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but you end up not just like caring about these characters
Hmm.
and falling
Yeah.
in love with them and wanting them to succeed and do better and all these things, and you know, you just end up so invested in them and their story. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there's characters that I get so like, oh, I love this character. I'll just put him in
Yeah.
another one, and another one, and you know,
Yeah.
and it's just like I have my own little cinematic universe because this one character is just kind of chilling and everything, but still, it's just like, hey, he's not hurting anything. They're just in there. They're having fun. They're moving things forward. Just let them do their thing.
Yep,
Uh,
that's exactly right. Yep.
but
I love that.
but so just kind of taking a step back and going to the origins. I'm always curious when you weren't jet setting or going to foreign locations. When did you get bit by that acting bug?
It's such a good question. I feel like for a lot of artists, there's like a pivotal moment. You know, they
Yeah.
saw a play, or their parents took them to the cinema, or something like that. But there, I didn't have that.
Hmm.
I mean, they're very impactful performances and experiences throughout my childhood, of course. But um, I just always knew, which is really interesting because
Hmm.
there's no professional artists in my family, and I didn't go to a art school or anything. But I just in my body knew that that's what I wanted to do, and there was never anything else. And I'm just really fortunate. My family was so supportive of it, even
Hmm.
though they were like, we don't really know how to support you with this or what to do with you, but
Right.
go for it, you know. Um, yeah, yeah, sort of. I don't know if that's an anticlimactic answer, but the answer is I just, yeah, from 3 or 4 years old, I just knew.
Did
Yeah.
you do any like school plays when you were younger?
I did all the plays and all the musicals, and you know, there were just you know, a little peek behind the curtain. I
Yeah.
mean, there were years when I auditioned for Annie and I auditioned
Mm.
for The Wizard of Oz and did not get in the
Mm.
school play, you know, and you know, 15-year-old Megan was absolutely devastated, rightfully so,
Yeah.
rightfully so.
Yeah.
But my parents, they put me into a theater company when I
Mm.
was maybe 11 or 12 as like an extracurricular, and so I was doing monologues and duologues and pantomimes and Stedfords and all sorts of things, which was great. And I think they sort of pulled my parents aside at some point. We're like, you should do something with this girl because she really wants this. And
Yeah.
so luckily they were so supportive, and I think I was maybe 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there, and I signed with my first agent. And yeah, yeah, which is wild to think about. That's such a young age, but
Right.
considering they didn't know anything about the industry. So but I'm so grateful that they did.
Yeah, and it always helps when you're in not, again, saying how your parents didn't know, but in Vancouver there's just surrounded by film, and there's always amazing opportunities to get onto a film set and just kind of also learn a little bit more about the process.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Brisbane, Australia,
That's right.
and
Yeah, yeah.
but the industry there is so small. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got the Gold Coast and the studios there, and there are some. There were, I mean, at that time there were things shooting, and I mean, my parents would take me out of school so I could go and do background work on, you know, there was a series called H2O, which is
Hmm.
like a mermaid show
Oh,
about these tweens who would turn into mermaids when they had big feelings.
okay.
And I would go and do background work when I was, you know, an early teen, and it was
Yeah.
fabulous. I learned so much. I just absorbed it all like a sponge, you know.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask.
Okay.
You don't have an accent? Is that something that you trained, or does it come out when you get mad or drunk?
It's a it comes out when I talk to animals,
Oh,
which
okay.
is the most bizarre. Like if there's a dog, I'm just like, oh, how are you, mate? Like I can't not.
Yeah.
Um, but when I moved to Canada, my manager at the time was like, because I had a very strong Australian accent, and he was
Hmm.
like, look, if you really want to do this, it's got to go. Like
Yeah.
that has got to go because
Yeah.
you don't want a part of your brain to be thinking about vowels and vocal placement when you're in the middle of a scene. You just don't want that on your radar at all. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I first moved, when I was like 20, 21, I spent like 6 months working with a dialect coach and just getting rid of my accent entirely,
Hmm.
which is rare.
Yeah.
Not a lot of actors do that, but it was
Yeah.
something that I needed to do. Um, and I'm really grateful that I did because it's never something I ever have to worry about.
Right.
I still work in my Australian accent for voiceover and things like that. And when I go home, like if I'm going home for like a few months or something, then it definitely creeps back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think really the only times when it comes out unintentionally are when I'm around kids or animals, or if I get like, yeah, real mad. If I'm real mad, like a couple of mates come out and
Right.
Megan's mad. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We see the limit, and we will not go over anymore.
That's right. That's right. If an Aussie sound comes out, like, oof, we crossed the line there.
Yeah, yeah. No. Well, it's just, because I'm fascinated with accents because my dad also grew up with one. And, English isn't his first language, but
Okay.
you would never notice talking with him because he's
Mm.
just, he spent a lot of time learning English and just no accent. But when you were trying to lose the accent, did they press anything like, oh, you're going to learn American English? Or was there just like general English? Or, sorry, not like English, but, accent
Um,
wise, like an
yeah,
American
yeah, yeah.
accent or something like that?
Yeah, so the thing that I was specifically taught was they call it standard American,
Okay.
which is just kind of the most hilarious term because it's like
Yes.
you're like
Yeah.
you pick a spot on a map of America and people will sound slightly different. So
Correct.
that standard American sound is actually that's actually not it doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
it's sort of like a hodgepodge that's of vowels that make sense for the world of cinema
Hmm.
that is sort of the most easy to listen to, and that's what most performers will typically work in. It's not really a geographically specific sound at all.
Hmm.
But that's exactly what I learned. But now because I've been, living in Vancouver and so there's, some oats and a boat start to creep in.
Hmm.
And now I'm in Montreal and that Quebec francophone, like every now and
Yes.
then things are popping out and
Yeah.
so it's starting to become a bit of a mess of sounds over here.
Yeah.
But yes.
You're an accent sponge. This is what I'm hearing.
I am, and it's not intentional.
And
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
get it. I get it. There's things that I understand. A lot of my Canadian actor friends would say, "Hey, can you read this?" And I'd just be like, "All right, why?" And they were just, "Oh, because we need the American version of it." And I was just, "Oh, I guess I am American, so okay."
Right.
So and I would just read it, and it's just funny how it's the same, but it's not the same. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, there's West Coast is very different from the east to the south to the north. It's just I don't know. As long as you can understand, who cares?
That's exactly
Accent aside, who cares?
right. Exactly. In the work, it's like, do I believe you? And am I lost in
Yeah,
the world and all
yeah.
of that? But yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but the thing that still trips me up after watching tons of Bridgerton is that if you want to just the English British accent is just a gateway towards fantastical fantasy. It's just, I'm just like, why that's not fair. They didn't change their accent. It's just them talking, and now I'm supposed to assume that it's like a fantastical language, which I mean it kind of is, but still.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah. But it's true. And it's funny how the industry has sort of made us form these like neurological pathways of
mm,
like, okay, well then the British sound, well then that person could very easily be the villain. And you're like,
right.
why is that the case?
Because obviously they're elevated to a different to a higher level than us. So
Like, right, yeah.
if you put a D in water, then sure, that's you're not going to be the villain.
Exactly. You must be the good guy. Must
Right,
be.
right. If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say water, then yeah, you're obviously a preppy kid. So whatever. I'm just
So clearly you done it, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You did it, British person. Uh, but so
Funny.
just kind of you know, thinking about things, and I love asking this question because there's never a right or wrong answer, but it tells me I feel like we've gotten to know each other pretty well, but this will tell me even more about you. So no
Okay, I'm
pressure.
sitting down. I'm sitting
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Hit
yeah,
me.
yeah. Sit down, lay down. It's a heavy question. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
Okay, I'm ready for it.
I'm just curious to you, what makes a good role and or character?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question, sir. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
that.
thank you.
Um,
And then I cut off the episode there, and then that's it.
yeah.
No, we never find out.
Da, da, da. Yeah. Tune in next week. Um, for me personally, as
Mhm.
like to play or as an audience member or
Yeah, to play.
to play, I think the more complex the character and the
Mm.
more layers and the more um I find characters that have secrets
Mm.
or that have some sort of deception, not necessarily in a negative way, but like if they need to protect somebody and so there's a deception or something like that. I feel like characters where there are like conflicting internal thoughts, I love that.
Mhm.
I want like the meaty, like a whole lot of meat on the bones, those sorts of characters.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like you can't put them in a box and you
Okay.
don't know what they're going to do next. And that the audience has to really lean in to be like, what are they thinking and what are they going to do next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes have British accents.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting. I don't know what's happening in my career at the moment, but I
Yeah.
seem to be playing a lot of um, villains
Mm.
or I don't know, bad guys or drug addicts or like not like the most straight up and down of characters. Let's put it that way. Which is an interesting happenstance,
Yeah.
but yes.
Look, I don't want to make fun of anybody, your managers, and nobody like that. But I just like the idea of, they're in the room. "Ah, we need somebody to play this like drug addict. Who can we do it?" And your agent's just like, I know who. I got the right person. Don't
I got
worry.
I
It's
got the perfect person. I got
I
you.
got you. Don't worry. Done. Moving on. Next character. What do you need?
It does make you question, like, what are they seeing in me?
It's like, okay, yeah. I will tell you. I At a brief point in my life, I went in for auditions just because I was curious of the process. And one of them
Okay.
was for a drug dealer where me at that point in my life, and still to this day, I've never met a drug dealer. I don't do drugs. So I don't know why I would be considered for a drug dealer. Like I can't even I don't think I'm particularly tough, but
Right. Yeah.
I went in and I said the lines and I saw people not paying attention. So they said, "Hey, can you do that again? Or would you like to?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So, just for fun, I slammed the script on the ground because I had like a I don't know, like a board on it or something. And the amount
Right.
of people just jump up, I just felt like I already won. I don't need this role. I don't know how to be a drug dealer. So, but it was like a moment in my life that I'll never forget, because I was just like,
Because you affected them in this way,
yes,
and you
yes.
got this really honest, visceral response from what you were doing. Oh, I love that.
It
I
also
love
helped that
that.
I just didn't care, because I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
not, again, I don't know what this is. Like, what? And again,
that's
yeah.
that is typically the way. Like if you're reading, as a character, and you're like, I don't know where this lives, I don't know who this person is, I'm not right for this.
Yeah.
Like chances are you're going to book it. I don't know what that
Hmm.
magic is, but it's a thing.
It's a thing. All right. So maybe I got a callback for that. That was like
Hmm.
13 years ago. I should check my email. Whatever.
I
Uh,
think so. I think so.
they're still waiting. Like, oh my God, I've halted production this long. Um, but so for the people at home who'd like to keep up with you, follow you online, or just, support you, where can they do all that?
Well, first of all, I would appreciate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I am at Megan Peta Hill, Meganpetahill on Instagram. I am only on the Instagram. I'm not cool
Mm,
enough for the TikToks and whatnot. I am too old.
yeah.
But I'm on the Instagram at Megan Peta Hill.
I deactivated my, since I'm an old person, I'm going to say Twitter.
Ah, yes.
And I felt so free. I was just like, oh, okay. And I was, because Twitter sucks, so whatever. Look, if you use it, fine, great, whatever. Like people out there listening, but me, I was just like, it's not. And yeah, Instagram is just kind of, it's always been my go-to. I don't know why. It's just a lot for me. It's just been a lot better. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot. It's a like to have multiple, like it ends up
Yeah.
being like a lot of work. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But I think also too, whichever platforms you're on, I think are a direct indication of which generation you're in.
Yes. Yes. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never, when somebody was making fun of Instagram Reels, I was
Mm.
just like, oh, am I the old? When did this happen? Okay, I guess I am. My favorite band is the Foo Fighters, and somebody said, "Oh, you
Yes.
like dad rock?" I'm like, wait, am I old?
Oh, that stings.
I'm like, what? I'm old now? Okay, all right. I
When did
mean,
that happen?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Dave Grohl's the man. I don't. Whatever. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I was just, I don't know. I gave up being young a long time ago. Let's just be old. Everyone be old, even the young. Just be old.
Absolutely. And there's so many perks to it. Early
Mm-hmm.
nights, sleep
Yes.
ins, cups of tea. It's
Oh,
nice.
oh
It's
my gosh.
nice.
Like if I never made fun of early sleepers, but honestly, if I could go to sleep when the sun is still out and wake up, well into the, like, I don't know, the afternoon, that would be wonderful.
The
But
pretty picture you paint, sir.
it's just, yeah.
Thank you.
That's too much sleep, though. That's way too much sleep. But still, Megan, thank you so much for being here and chatting with me. Anytime you want to come back, just say the word, okay?
Thank you so much. It's been a delight, and you're wonderful to talk to. So thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, of course. But I'll let you go, and you have a wonderful rest of your day, and keep staying safe and healthy. All right.
I will. You too, and stay cool down there.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I'm not leaving. I'm not. AC is set at 70. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's not moving. It's staying there. But I don't know, Celsius, like 5. I don't
I
know.
don't know
I don't
either.
know.
I don't
I don't
either, but
know.
it sounds hot. It sounds
no,
hot.
it's cool. It's cool. We'll figure that out one
We'll
day.
figure it out. It's fine.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.